Hello, I'm in the lounge. Right, Pic and Dip Bricklaying. What do I know about it? Quite a bit, really. But, not something I use now. Around the world, I would say there's more pick and dip done in various forms than what we call traditional bricklaying. You know, where you sort of lay a long kind of bed. It's used in the UK, Ireland, Australia, America, and South Africa. Basically, the countries what the UK colonised, really. But in other countries, pick and dip is the way it's done. Pick and dip, without a doubt, is the fastest way to lay bricks, and that will come later. I'll explain to you that later why. It's got quite popular. Or has it got popular? I don't know. Or is it a YouTube thing? I mean, Charlie sort of kicked it off. Listen, he knows he never started it, but he researched it and he uses it sometimes. But any of you lads who actually work on site, you know, like 30 or 40 bricklayers, different gangs, too many people do pick and dip. I don't know. I don't work on site no more. I've worked on site for 20 years, but I just wondered if it was a big thing or it was just a YouTube thing. But anyway, I left college, tops course, at 21 years of age, and I worked in this country for 2 weeks, and my mate rang me up and said, "A job in Holland, you're up for it?" I went, "Well, that's why I wanted to learn bricklaying, because I wanted to travel the world," and that was a passport, you know, have travel, we'll travel. So I went to Holland, and 6 years later, after doing Holland and Germany, I came back. But yeah, there was... this just briefly, I don't want to bore you. I got out there, I was a young man, 21 years of age. I was definitely not the bestest bricklayer in the world by any means. I only just come out of college, and I knew that, really. But there was about 30 of us went out. Some were fucking worse than me, I can tell you. Pissheads, really. And there were some decent bricklayers, but Dutch bricklayers, you know, they was working out of tubs. We were out there with the 1911 Marshall Towns and that, and it just didn't work. It didn't work. I was lucky, I think, because it weren't installed in me, and I was young, so I could change. And let me tell you now, out all them 30 odd people who was there, after 6 weeks, there was only 5 left. There was various reasons for it. Alcohol was a big problem. People couldn't cope with the alcohol. I felt quite sorry for the younger family men who came out. You know, that the wife and the kids were at home and that, and they was away from home, and it didn't work. They got homesick very quick. They missed the kids, missed the wife. No mobile phones in them days. You had to write a letter, really, or queue up outside the phone box with a pocket full of cash. Yeah, so they didn't last. Anyway, it ended up 5 of us. And we left this firm we was working for. We ended up working for a small builder in town who kept us going. And then in the end, it was just me, and I'd stayed there for 2 or 3 years, just working with Dutch guys and that. And I always remember the owner, Case Dickenberg, his name was. He's long gone now, he'd be dead. Every Friday, you always went round his house to get paid, like in cash. And there was always crates of beer there. You went round here, all that chat after work and that. It was quite a religious family, a lot of beer though. And he said to me one day, he went, "Andy," "Oh, Jay was the eerste, maar now it gaat good." And what he said was, "You were the worst bricklayer out of all of them," because I was the youngest, somebody was out of that 5. He said, "But now it goes good." And I loved that man because he trusted me. He saw something in me, and because he could have easily said, like, "He's no good, fucking get rid of him," but he didn't. Yeah, so I'm like that with other people as well. If people work for me and I see they might have something, yeah, you know, you don't just fuck them off because they don't seem to be good enough at the moment. They're only young and everyone's got to learn. Anyway, let's get on to the pick and dip. Oh dear, where was I? Yeah, pick and dip in Holland. The pick and dip we try and use over here basically comes from Holland, northern Germany, the lowlands, them kind of places. Why do they use pick and dip? Because it's the fastest, but 2, their muck is shit. It's absolute rubbish. You cannot spread a bed. You just can't, because it just goes off. So that's they do. And also, you know, their bricks are sort of like 52 mil, something like that. You know, you can pull a joint on. They don't have to fill their joints because they rake everything out. It's all raked out and pointed later. They do use they're using a chariot now on some of their work, I've noticed. So you'll see in the video later how they do it different, keep the joints full. But yeah, that's why. And you know, they use silo muck now, and that's, if you look on their videos in Holland, it looks like porridge. But yeah, that's why they do it. Right, what else was there? That's a different trail. Right, yeah, trails. Oh, hang on a minute. So, why is it called Pic and Dip? Because I'll tell you something now, in Holland, it's called bricklaying, it's not called Pic and Dip. But I've got this book, Bricklaying System, by Frank Bunker Gilbert. It's quite a well-known book, and it's well worth a read. It was I think 1909. This book was printed, and he uses the word pick and dip, and he compares it with the English way, traditional way of laying bricks, and he calls it the Eastern way. So I think he's talking about Eastern Europeans in 1909 in America. But you also must remember, this is just me though, that New York, prior to being New York, was called New Amsterdam. So obviously there's a Dutch influence there. So yeah, maybe because I was quite surprised. I didn't realise, but that's where Pic and Dip comes from. Well, he calls it that anyway. Yeah, trowels. Oh dear, God, yeah, she's going mad if she knew what these on the sofa. Right, typical Dutch pick and dip trowel. That's that one. You got this monstrosity, the Berlin pattern, and this is something I've designed myself. It's just an English trowel, but I've cut it down like that. It works. And it's just like the German, it's bucket trowel we call it, but you know, a lot of parts of Germany they use that. Right, so over here we're trying to emulate the Dutch way of laying bricks, and I'll tell you what, for me it don't work. I don't like it. I've done years doing pick and dip, but it don't work for me in this country. Why? I see people, they're doing it, and right, they've got to use so much muck to pull on the joint to keep things full. Well, they're not keeping full. Listen, I know bricklayers who do traditional brickwork and got holes in their brickwork. I don't like all that pointing up afterwards. You know, everything should be full. Yes, it don't work for me. If I was working in Holland, and I do say this later, obviously pick and dip all the time, and I find down where I live, down here, the malt we get, the sand we get, the muck is it's good for what we do. It ain't no good for pick and dip. It's quite fatty and sticky. So, you know, for me it don't work. But yeah, if you pick and dip, like the dragging on, but also there's many other ways of doing it. You know, in Germany they'll use this trowel here, but they'll put a joint in it because they're using a bigger brick. They're not all the Dutch call them buckstain, and the Germans call them clinker, and that's a little 55 mil, 52 mil, whatever they are, bricks. So, you know, you'll put a bed down and joint it as well. And that's the same with this monstrosity here. Their use of blocks, this is a block laying trowel really, but I have seen people lay bricks with them. If you go on TikTok, there's a female bricklayer, you may well have seen her. Her name is Badass. Badass. Have a look. It's not because she's a female bricklayer and that, but she shows you the technique they use for laying bricks, laying the blocks. And you know, what she's doing is picking a block up, buttering it, one bed at a time and going along. You know, if you watch it, you'll understand. Yeah, so it is the fastest way of laying bricks, but this day and age, I've got to be fast. So, listen, the money's made in the office, isn't it? Get the right price. You ain't got to kill yourself on bad prices. But it is an efficient way of laying bricks, pick and dip. I must admit, you watch the little video I've done now, and please don't cane me for this video, because I'm no pick and dip expert now. I haven't done it for years. So don't slate me on it, because I'm not that good at it anymore, but I'm just trying to show you through different things how it works. But yeah, I would use it, but I'd only use it on something that's got to be raked out, really. I just can't see the point. When I actually lay bricks myself, I don't lay long beds. You know, 2 or 3 trowelfuls in front of me, what I can reach. My feet don't move. Then I lay them and move on and move on and move on. So I'm sort of doing kind of pick and dip anyway. You know, it's that kind of time and motion thing. So anyway, yeah, watch the video anyway. It's after this. I'm just trying to explain things, really. Probably not the best thing to do. I'd just like to say thanks to Scott Clark. I said about having I needed a new motor for the other mixer, and he's donated one to me. So cheers, Scott. I'll buy you a couple of beers when I see you. I'll pick it up at night. Yeah, lovely. Why's pick and dip the quickest way? Well, let me show you. There's a wall, got 30 bricks in it. Now, if you're going to lay this traditional long bed, you know, proper long bed, like say the Americans do it, you're going to walk up here, spreading your bed. So you're going to get 2 bricks out of a trowelful. You're going to turn around to your muck 15 times. So you're going to walk up here, spread your bed. Now you're going to walk all the way back because your muck's going off. That's twice you've walked the wall. Then you're going to walk down here again, laying the bricks, turning around 30 times to pick 30 bricks up and lay them up to this end. Then you're going to turn around and walk back and start again. So that's 45 times you've had to turn round to get your muck and bricks, and you've walked up and down this wall 4 times. Now if you're doing it pick and dip, you're picking a brick and muck up at the same time. So you're going to walk down this wall once, laying your bricks up to here, and they're laid. Then you're going to turn around and walk back, start again. You've walked down the length of that wall twice and gone to your brick and mucks 30 times, not 45 times, and you've only walked half as far. Speaks for itself, doesn't it? So basically this is what I see people doing over here, nothing wrong with it. I just find it a bit ungainly. What I don't like is, whatever you do, that joint is never full up properly, is it? That one. So, if you're going to do that, you've got this bit of muck left over, haven't you? You've always got that. It's a bit on there. There's no point in doing something which is faster, it's going to take twice as long to join up. Tiny gripe with it. Trowels everywhere. There's always so much muck left over. It's just, I don't know, it's not for me over here. Pick and dip, and I'll explain why now. Long bed pick and dip, what's that about? Long bed pick and dip, you can't even put it in the same sentence, can you? Long bed pick and dip. No such thing. It's just bricklaying, rough bricklaying really. A lot of Aussie bricklayers used to work like this when I was out there. Again, you'd be doing this off a board, not a... And all you're doing is just dragging the joint on. But
But if you're going to do that, again, you've got this bit of muck left over, stick it on the joint. Keeps your joints flush, that's what you want to do. But it's not pick and dip. It's definitely not pick and dip. Right, if Dennis the Dutchman was laying bricks, he'd be doing it like this, and he used the end of his trowel to scrape the muck out, because he's going to rake it out. He don't need it flush, and his bricks are smaller, thinner, so it's good enough for him, isn't it? But it's no good for us. You know, these bricks are massive, isn't it? So we've got to push the muck about a bit when we do it. Right, so if we're going to do this over here, we want to make sure our joints are full, don't we? So you've got to move the muck about a little bit. We use the flat bit of the blade. Perks back in one brick. You get with stock, so isn't it? Right, let's, you know, if I'm going to do pick and dip, I'm going to do it out of a tub, I'm going to do it with a Dutch trowel. I'll do it like that, so you know, they're pretty full up. But I've sort of designed this. It's just a normal lift, English trowel. Rain on the way apparently, heavy rain and winds. get caught out in that. Right, so if I was on site, which I never will be anymore, and working off spot boards, and I fancy want to do pick and dip, this is the trail. I'm not very good at this. A load of big bricks here. I'm all the way out in Holland with their bricks and that. And obviously it's just this muck. Our muck just seems too sticky for me for doing it. Don't know, I just prefer, if I was working in Holland, I'll be doing pick and dip, but I don't know, it just don't seem to work right for me in this country. Shit, innit? Fucking try maybe that one. The thing about these tubs, though, when you're working on your own, you can fill them right up, knock a few gauges up. You know, they don't spill over. And then you have this beast. Dry fill. Cable in my way. I won't be using that for too much longer. Well, it has its uses, but not in this confined space. And this is what happens when you let the builder sort the frames out. He's got two 1500 frames made up. Why? Now I've got 3/4 everywhere.